Hey everyone, Froe here, and welcome back to another Let's Play episode. To start us off with today, we're going to talk a little bit about the adventure we made in the Nether. Right away after passing through the portal, we get assaulted by a couple boss mobs, and we're going to use sulfur blocks as kind of our breadcrumbs for this first trail here. And it really didn't take too long for us to find our first bastion, but we weren't able to find what we're looking for, right? We're looking for the netherite smithing template so that we can upgrade to netherite tools. I was going to keep leaving breadcrumbs, but that was taking too long, so I just started flying around in the nether. Found some fortresses. I did end up finding another bastion, but again, didn't find what we're looking for there either. So I kept exploring, trying to stay in one direction the entire time. Found another fortress, and then after about another 2 hours of exploring, I finally found a full bastion. These things are pretty cool, but at this point I was kind of tired and wanted to move on, so I just quickly yoinked what I was looking for and zipped on out of there. So yeah, no breadcrumb leaving out to the bastion, but I did leave a lodestone there so we can find our way out that direction if we ever wanted to. And what we're going to do now is just very quickly duplicate this netherite upgrade. And there we go. We got a bunch of them duplicated, and I took one out and preserved it so that we can call that one our first one we ever collected. And also, I'm going to start saving all of our compasses for the nether exploration here, because we can't map out the nether. We'll just have to rely on lodestones and compasses, which is fine. That'll work. So derpy with the turtle helmet. So what else are we going to do this episode? I've been thinking about it. I have like a little sticky note that you can maybe hear me waving right here. I have some thoughts written down on it for what I want to accomplish. But last episode, we did work on this part of the base, this area over here. And we opened up this area for future development. Which, yeah, when looking at the island's map here, that's definitely the most bare part of the island. This middle section here is going to be plain because it's just an open field for animals. But all of this, right, is still pretty much left untouched and can be fixed up. And yeah, I have a lot of ideas for how we're going to kind of finish this area off. First thing I want to do is build a herder statue here. And I also want to make a monument to mooshrooms over here, a mooshroom shrine, and a place that we can farm or easily collect suspicious stew. And then these are some of the most original mooshrooms in the entire world, which is why I want to preserve this field and make a shrine here for the mooshrooms. In fact, I found a backup of my world from about 6 years ago that has this patch of mycelium there, right? And everything else got grassed off. And then this little horde of mooshrooms were congregating here even way back then, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, our plan would be to work on that mooshroom shrine and figure out some way to organize it so that we can play with mooshroom or the suspicious stew easily. We're going to use the following: diorite, stripped pale oak, a couple quartz blocks, and then cinnabar as kind of our building palette. Keeping it pretty basic, we're just going to build a medium-sized Roman temple kind of styled building facing this way. So let's get to it here. We're going to clear a little building pad. All right, so currently it's 11 by 21, and I think it's a little too long for the width. Like if we wanted it this long, we would need to make it wider, which we could do, and I'm considering maybe bumping it out a few blocks. But I think no matter what, we need to shrink this down. So like if we place a block here, then this would be 15 by 11, and those proportions seem more reasonable. All right, so I made it one block wider on each side, so now it's a width of 13. And I actually kept it the original dimension, but I capped it off at the end here. Right, so inside of this room itself, it's not going to feel as long, but from the outside perspective, it'll still be relatively long. But I think I could probably, I don't know, do something with the end cap here to make it so that, we break it up. It's not just one long flat surface. But yeah, I also figured, before we actually build the building, we should include our redstone contraption. So the first one here is pretty basic. If you feed a mooshroom a dandelion and then milk it with a bowl, it'll give you suspicious stew, which is considered a superfood, so we may want to stockpile some of it for the end dragon fight. I'm not sure. But basically, you would milk the cow and then throw the suspicious stew here. And then it'll dispense another dandelion in another bowl for you. So that you can just stand here and, feed them the dandelion, drop the stew. Feed them the dandelion, drop the stew. And then over here is a automatic bowl crafter. So you can just put wood in here, like spruce wood, for example. And then it will automatically craft it into bowls. Right, so if we take an item out of there, then it will automatically fill up until it's full, and then it'll stop, assuming that there's enough wood in the system. All right, everyone, I got a lot to show off to you, and I'm pretty excited for this. So I would say that this build, the cow shrine building here, is probably like one of the quintessential examples of like the way that we build our world as a whole. Right? We have an area where we preserve a little snippet of history of our world, right? And then like a cool building that's kind of elevated and has some cool views and, has that Roman-esque type of feel to it. Right? We got some awesome views of the cows there and the ocean, and we had our render distance far enough, we'd be able to see Death Island from here. That'd be pretty sweet. In here, right, this is basically the finished build. It kind of follows a basic template of other builds we've had in the world here. We have windows. Right? Sometimes we use glass for them. Most of the time we just kind of keep them open. We have that odd pattern. So like 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, actually it's 4 here, which is a little, it's actually a little unique. Same for the windows. Usually I make my windows 3 wide and then like a 5 block pattern. So we do break the mold a tiny bit there, but this is kind of what I was talking about, right? Like a 3 wide pattern. And a lot of my windows kind of look like that shape. And yeah, basically you just kind of pick your color scheme and you slap your blocks together and this is what we get. It's not too bad. We have room for decorations on these tables here, which I like the shelf block. That's really sweet for table legs. We have our built-in redstone functionality that we try to include for all of our builds. We just gotta get our mooshroom here. And yeah, I want to build a statue of a mooshroom here too as well, like a little 3x3 one. Not huge or anything, but enough to take up a lot of the space and really be the highlight of the building here. Wanted to give you a glimpse of what the building looks like from kind of the sky here. This whole area actually is really coming together well. I said this building is a good example of kind of what our world looks like in general and how we go about building things. But actually, this whole area is a really great example. We got some beautiful paths. Well, let me get us a good view here. We got some beautiful paths that are all pretty well decorated. I tried to mix up every little area as we go, add in some greenery. So there we have like a bush path or like a bush wall. And then we have like flowers in pots or bushes in pots or something. We have a little overview of that tiny lake. Right, we got the mooshrooms. So like everywhere you go, there's points of interest that you can kind of look at. And every once in a while, we try to put like a landmark area, like right here, that really just kind of captures and centers your attention. I think I added some leaves in the cliffside too, and I think that makes everything come together really well. But yeah, in general, this build is just a great example of kind of the formula we've made for successful builds in this world. Man, I love the new cinnabar block. It's exactly what we needed for these Roman temple type builds. Fits in perfectly. Even though this isn't exactly what like a Roman temple may look like. We got some weird oddities and stuff. And I try to just give it a bit of character. I also like this area here. I don't know how much we'll actually ever come here, but we got planted some trees, and then I kind of noticed these flowers, right? Kind of fit between like where the trees don't have shade. So you kind of pretend like they grew where it's sunniest, so to speak. And then at nighttime, we get this awesome ambiance because of the firefly bushes we've added in there. And so that's pretty neat. And yeah, this whole area here is really, really polishing off nicely. There's not a whole lot left we want to do. Actually, let's fly around over here too. It's cool just to fly around the world when it's dark out like this. It's a different perspective I don't always show you guys. Yeah, the next steps for like that little corner of the world is I think I have 2 towers I want to build. Here's the Phoenix statue and the red tower. These towers I want to build, or these buildings, are going to be, one of them's for the Illusioner Tower. And so I think I'm going to place that one right here. And hold on, let's make it a really quick here. The Illusioner's Tower is going to be a build where we probably just automatically brew potions of invisibility. And my inspiration is to see that little dude down there. That's an Illusioner. And then they turn themselves invisible. So I think thematically that makes sense for a cool little build. And then over here, I want to have holding pens for Operation Pokemon. So, like, as we go to explore our world and collect various animals, right, we can stage them here before we give them a final place in the island to live in. Right, so that way we can start that project before we actually have a place to house everything. Check out the cool tree. I like it. Goes well with those other ones too. I like the trees, by the way, those ones specifically, because they do a great job of kind of hiding this building. Right before I had the trees there, this building was just there. And I mean, it's not an ugly building, but it's definitely not one that you want to like have full frontal view of. You kind of want to have something to obscure the view of it. I think in general, for any build, that's a good idea. It just adds a layer as you're kind of traversing around your world. It adds a layer to the actual build itself. Over here then is where we're going to build the turtle tower. It's going to be at the very, very tip of the island. Actually, not even technically connected to the main land. We'll have a little bridge. But the whole point of this tower is just going to be a place that we can breed turtles. Or something similar. Maybe brew the turtle potion. Right, something like that. So I added them both to our to-do list here, and I also think I'm going to start including what episode we place that sign. I just think that's kind of a cool idea. And we actually can take off another item here. So let's do entry number 6, Underwater Tunnel, episode 81. Because we have finished it, so let's go ahead and tear that off of here. And let's go check that out too, because that would be kind of fun. It's nothing crazy. I just have a couple dolphins tied up, kind of in captivity. And then I just made this tunnel pretty quickly. It didn't take too long, maybe like 2 hours or so. I just did it between episodes. So let's see, once we start swimming, we get the Dolphin's Grace effect. And then we just fly on out of here. But we could probably zip all the way to Death Island from here. So maybe let's give that a shot. Let's renew our Dolphin's Grace. There we go. And swim, swim, swim. Oh my goodness, it's so fast. Oh, got pufferfished. And I failed at my attempt, but Death Island is just over the horizon. There it is. So, kind of a fast way to get there. Oh, you can actually... Now that I've increased my render distance, they don't feel that far apart. I remember when I first started this world, Death Island felt like it was in the middle of the ocean and like a million miles away from our actual main island here. I also spent some time on our enderportal system. So I made some upgrades. I think we can go to the nether. A hub, that is, not the actual nether. And big lake spike. And then from here, we can go to the kelp farm. For some reason, there is no ender pearl there, so I just had to restock it quick. Let's give this a try now. There we go. And then let's make sure we very carefully place the ender pearl. Then from here, eventually I'll set it up so we can go to the barn too, I think is kind of the plan. Otherwise, you can just make a return trip to the nether portal. And we can go to the red tower. And then from here, we can go, I think we have this one hooked up. We can go to just the main base, I suppose. And then from here, we could go to the barn. That's the one I need to connect to the kelp farm. And from the barn, we have a new connection. We can make it to the mud farm. And then now we're in the mud farm, which eventually I'll hook it up so that I can go to the moss farm, which will be further that direction. But from here, we can go to the red sandstone tower, which is a pretty cool area. I don't think I've ever really shown this off too much in detail. Right, and then we can, oh, did we lay an ender pearl? Yep, there's one there. And then we can make a return trip And I think from here, we can also go to... That's back to the barn. Is this hooked up? Yeah, I don't think that one's hooked up. So, I guess I kind of felt like I had a lot more, a lot more ender porters hooked up than I actually do here. I was hoping to show off a lot, but I guess I only have a few more connected. But that's all right. Let's go check out the disenchanter. That's this building over here. Do I have anything set up here, or is it just the single? Yep, just the single one still. So the network's getting bigger, right? But definitely have room to grow. So yeah, now you can go from the main base to the red tower to the nether portal hub, which is kind of back behind that building, and all the way to the kelp farm, which is pretty cool. That's a big extension. And then vice versa, you can go kind of from here, main base, to the barn, all the way to the mud farm, which is over there, and then further beyond that direction. And then also eventually we'll connect it up to the disenchanter, which you can just barely see behind in the background there. So yeah, we're getting a bunch of nodes and like hubs put together for our ender portal. The reason why I thought I had more done was because that was like 3 or 4 hours worth of work. It is so much time to set those up. It's easy. It's very time consuming, you know? Anywho, let's get on with the episode. I want to name this guy here. We're going to name him Barnaby. We're going to name the brown mushroom. I think he's one of the OG brown mushrooms. I don't think I like intentionally made him. I think he's just a natural lightning strike. I think is how you get them, right? And we need to be able to get out of here. So let's pull this up. And then replace it. There we go. And you're just going to come with me. We're going to set you up with a nice, cozy new place to live. All right, he's doing pretty well so far. We'll bring you in here. Yep, good job, good job. You think you'll just follow me into here? You wanna come in here? Maybe I need to push you in at this point. Let's see how easy this can be. Oh, just like that. Just like that. That's all it took. That's not too bad at all. Cool, cool. And now let's try to use this thing a bit here. So we'll feed you, we'll milk you, and then drop it off. Feed you, milk you, drop it off. Oh, I messed it up. For some reason, I didn't get a dandelion that time. So feed you, drop you off. Feed you, milk you, drop it off. Okay, it's kind of working. Pretty consistent. Cool, and then we got all of the suspicious stews, which give you the saturation for just a couple, like a third of a second or something, but it heals you an insane amount. I mean, it's considered a superfood. Okay, that's the problem is these water streams, sometimes the dandelions or the bowls can go off on the far side, and so when I'm standing here, they don't reach me. I don't think there's an easy way to fix that, so we'll just have to live with it. It's not a big deal. We're not going to use this a whole lot. Yeah, this whole new area is definitely coming together. Whoa, yeah, when you look at the world from way up high, man, this is crazy. We've put in some work, that's for sure. Right, and that's the new moss farm that we're going to be building eventually. Right, and it looks like we have pretty much this whole section of the island nearly complete. Right, those trees add a lot of life to this area here. We're going to have one tower there, if you kind of imagine, another one, and then just a big open field and a place to hold animals. Yeah, things are coming together. I did want to show you that I made a few upgrades over here. So I made a perpetual cactus farm that it's supposed to just, always be burning cactus. And it never worked 100%. There were a couple problems, like the bamboo farm that I was using to fuel this thing would break all the time because I was using like a flying machine and it was just unreliable. So I went through and I updated that and made it so that it's just like all my other bamboo farms, pretty consistently working then. And I also built an auto crafter so that it'll craft the bamboo into bamboo planks, which is like 6 times more fuel efficient. So that's awesome. And the reason for that is because I was running out of storage in my little barrel here. And I was like, well, I'm just wasting all this bamboo. So now we have, there's 1 barrel here, but it's the same amount of smelting power as 6 barrels of just normal bamboo. And then I also added some more cactus farm down below because this wasn't quite keeping up. Now it's kind of keeping up. It's maybe just barely keeping up at this point, right? But that's the whole point, is just burn all the time so that when I press this lever and I collect the cactus, we get a bunch of EXP, which is exactly what I'm going to do now. Oh, man. Level 58. That's pretty sweet. Just like that. We're going to do the same thing here just for funsies. So we're going to pull all these levers and then just start pulling the kelp blocks here. I left the same sign over at the cactus one too, just so that we can kind of keep track of when did we last pull items from here. So there's one. We're not going to get nearly as much EXP as we did from the cactus because these haven't been running for quite as long. But that's pretty sweet. Well, why was that 44? It seems kind of high. Is this not working properly? Whoa! Uh-oh. That's not good. Why is that full? Why is that full? Why is this getting full? What's going on? Is this working? This is not working, is it? Yeah, it looks like we just had a problem where for some reason that redstone got broken. And so the clock here running the crafter broke. So it's got this huge backlog, which is kind of satisfying because you can do this, which is always fun to see. But yeah, we're going to end the episode here for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I didn't get everything done I wanted to. I wanted to build this little mini mushroom statue as well. But, this episode's getting long and I want to get it out there. And we always have next episode, right? So look forward to that next time. Thank you for watching. Give me any advice, feedback, suggestions, or just leave a comment if you want to say hi. Really appreciate your time, and you guys have a nice one. Bye-bye.